You have achieved what a lot of people, I mean, how many abandoned YouTube channels are there that people threw up one video or two and they didn't get the Misfits numbers, 138,000 views, and they just kind of walked away from it. What is one thing, because you are the punk rock historian in my world?
Hell yeah, cheers.
What advice would you give? Like, I mean, when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to the monetization process, because you are throwing up, look, I got some interviews coming up with artists that I know they're not going to do what grade 2 numbers did for me.
Sure.
But I enjoy the band or I enjoy the music or whatever. So what advice would you give? And I'm listening because you're the historian here. I'm a stand for you at this moment. What advice would you give to all YouTubers when it comes to creating the content or making a channel or monetization? Like, what is your secret? Because you literally blew up overnight.
It's I mean, in ways like that, those just tend to manifest themselves. But that's a result of me putting in the time to do it, to get to that position where I could. The best thing I would say that can do for a YouTube channel is a consistent subject of some sorts, a theme for the channel. Like you said, you're doing the band interviews or just artist interviews in general. And like what Dan Frampton does, he talks about music, but he has a more comedic tone to it. A lot of people will just kind of throw random things at the wall and kind of to see what sticks, or they'll just get up of a video of them and their friends just talking, and they're just talking about anything. They don't really have a subject. I would say you need to focus it a little more, especially in the beginning. They're like Twitch streaming and podcasting, that tends to come later. Either you've built your audience interviewing people, you've built your audience talking about the histories of things. That seems to be the tried and true method, because Finn McKenty, he's obviously doing that now. He's doing Twitch streams. He has his own podcast, but he built up the ability to do that through his content of discussing marketing and comparing that to music, and especially in the world of punk and metal and hardcore, where we don't really talk about marketing and music very much. And
right.
That consistent theme tends to really, I think, benefits people the most. Another thing is some form of consistency. It doesn't have to be every week, but I would say once a month. That seems to be working for me pretty well. It certainly is enough to keep your channel alive. And then obviously you want your content to have, as much substance as possible, as much as you can, providing people with things they may not have known. That's right. Really the approach that I've always taken to my content. I don't want to just tell people the things they already know. I want to include information that you might not have known. Like for instance, Rancid had a release on Fat Records. Not a lot of people know that, but they did have one 7-inch release in the early 90s on Fat Wreck. But that's just an example. I like to include things like that because that's what keeps the story interesting. That's what keeps it, especially for people that are, not as well versed in the history of different like rabbit holes within punk rock history.